Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show Live. Today we're going to be winging it mostly. So we'll talk about stories about working online. Let me know if you could hear me. I could hear myself, which is always a good sign, but it's good to double check. You can hop into the chat. Let me know where you're from, say hello and all that good stuff. And welcome. One reason we're winging it today is I wasn't able to get a guest this time, but part of it is because I just got in from out of town. We were on a little trip. We went to see a couple national parks. Longtime viewers, listeners will know that we are making it a quest to visit all the national parks. So we knocked down, I don't know how many. I'm in the high 20s. I don't think I'm at 30 yet. And I believe is it 63 national parks in the US? So anyway, we've been to a handful, but we went on a long road trip down to Death Valley and Joshua Tree. It was a great road trip. Got to drive through Utah. Actually drove through Vegas, which I have some friends that do live in Vegas, but was unable to catch up with them on a road trip. Some places make more sense to stop than others. In Vegas did not make sense for us to stop in either direction. So anyway, we zip through. Maybe some other time in the future, we'll be able to hang out longer in Vegas. But anyway, it was a great trip. Weather was pretty good, surprisingly cold for the desert. In fact, when we were in Joshua Tree, we experienced snow and ice. So I knew there were some high mountains around there, but it was like snow, like where we went to in the park, and it was icy and all that kind of thing, which is a little surprising, but the desert overall was pretty cool. And we're back now. Hence the thing is I got back yesterday and emailed one or two people about potentially joining me today, but I didn't hear back from them. So I was like, you know what? I'll catch up with them later and I'll just wing it from here. Now, a few things I've been thinking about, and you'll notice the theme of a few of the live streams that I've done in the past, I would say 4 months. It probably started in the tail end of December. So we'll call it 4 months. Basically, the whole niche site world, the content site world has dramatically changed. A lot of people have essentially just abandoned their sites. They're letting their domains go. They're canceling hosting. They're effectively like lowering their expenses. I did all those things, right? So I lowered my expenses. I hadn't really spent much time on a new site in a very long time. I'm trying to think, probably 3 years, but in like real terms of like putting out effort, I only built a new site and put a lot of time into it most recently in 2020, which is 5 years ago, a long time ago. And the thing is, like, the business model has changed. People are shifting to other stuff. We have skills. We chatted a couple weeks ago with Heather Ferris, and like there's some folks that are doing things with Pinterest, for example. And other people are spending time on newsletters and that sort of thing. And I have been thinking a lot, just like how much things changed. And one thing I could look back at, like my own content, my own videos here, and I'll share my screen. I'm not sure if we'll watch any of these, but we'll go through. Of course, this is recent. These are recent videos that I released. I talked to Emily here, and she's doing print on demand on Etsy, which is something I'm actually going to pursue. It's been a busy Q1 so far, so I haven't had time to actually create my store, but I have a good start on it, and I have a couple great ideas. So as we're scrolling through here, we'll see newsletters and all this kind of stuff. But really what I want to go back to is the success stories that I was doing probably, we'll call it like 2017 to 2020. were amazing, absolutely amazing success stories. And it's just changed at this point. And it's been interesting because some folks, right? So we have Ricky Kessler on here. We have a couple of his videos, and I had him on. It's been a little while at this point. It's probably been January or so. And basically he was going to like try and recover a site. I need to catch up with him because he had a plan, which, I mean, that's a tough thing to work on. You have a site, trying to recover it, and it's in, it's in rough shape. Like it dropped 90% of its traffic, something like that. And then we have a plan to, go through it, improve the content, do all the things we used to do. And like when he was telling me, I was like, I don't know if that stuff works anymore. It used to work, but I don't know. We'll have to see. So as we scroll down, let's get to the more interesting stuff. The older success stories. So it'll take a little while to scroll through all of these. It goes on forever, it seems. We talk about 1 year ago, we're starting to cover people that had big sites. They were success stories, and then their site dropped. So here we have this one, Kristen, who had a travel blog, and she was making $25K a month. And then the helpful content update effectively slash the traffic, right? So really tough to go through. So we go through here. We see Christmas time. All right, we're getting to the good stuff. And if there was a way to go through this a little faster, I would, but we're just going to scroll through. Hopefully I'm not making you all dizzy. But the thing is, like, slowly over time, the success stories became fewer and farther between, and it was changing a little bit. So here we have Denise, who had a travel site, and it was working well. It got up to $4,000 in revenue. And then she ran into issues as well. She was on a few times. We have hints of AI, the thing that made everything change. For a stretch here, you'll notice I was doing more stuff with AI, which I still play around with AI a little bit. But for a second, I thought, this is really interesting. I really want to learn some of this stuff. And I started creating some of that content, which actually did really pretty well most of the time. And then I got a little bored with it, and I was like, I'm not going to be publishing content. So it was a weird way to bridge the gap where I was like, some people are still publishing content. It looks like AI can help. Maybe I can, like I said, bridge the gap and people could use AI to create the content. But at the end of the day, I was like, this is a dead end anyway. So other folks, like I think I saw Pete McPherson up here. So he's using AI to code. So I'm on his email list, and he's saying, basically, I'm not a coder, but I have been coding. Like, he's been learning stuff and he's been using AI. I think Ariel Phoenix is doing the same. And it's funny because I actually have a strong coding background. I have a computer engineering degree, and I haven't done any coding. I could not code myself out of a wet paper bag at this point, but I'm pretty sure a lot of it would come back. I spent, thousands of hours coding and doing that kind of stuff. And I took some very, very tough, I would say, foundational classes in the CS and operating systems area, and then I did a lot of coding basically, but I haven't done it in a long time. And the thing is, like, there's a solid chance I could pick up kind of where I left off years ago, and that would give me a nice foundation. Now, things have changed a lot, and sometimes you have to unlearn your bad habits, but truth is I forgot those. I forgot them because it was so long ago. So I could probably pick things up and be way more effective than I would have been in the past. I was probably average at best. Like many good coders, I'm a little bit lazy. So most of the time I was like, how can I save time doing this thing, this horrible repetitive thing? And then I would write a script or something to help it. Okay, So as we're going along here, I don't want to lose track, but we're at about a year ago. And basically, I want to get a little bit farther down. It's going to take a little while to scroll. So give me a shout in the chat. I see we have a few more people joining up here. And I'm going to stop sharing just for a second so I can scroll down a little faster and get deeper into all this stuff. And what we're going to find, it looks like we're about 2 years back. And this will be pretty awesome. Okay. So now we're 2 years back. We have below average blogger. So we have a 150K site valuation. We have Denise was on so many times. I forgot she was on so many times here. This may have been the first appearance, beginner making 2K per month. So that's the kind of stuff we were seeing. We're seeing like beginners are making 2K per month. Someone's making 5K. Maybe it wasn't their very first site. Maybe it was like their third or fifth site, but they like worked through and they figured stuff out. And as we scroll down here, we see Marty McLeod. We have Ariel on here, 2,800 per month. Here is Nicole M, who is interested in starting a site, but ultimately decided not to, it was pretty interesting. She contacted me, was asking great questions, and I was like, you know what, we should just talk about it here. And this is Blog Sprout, so that's LJ, and she was on a few times I see here. And yeah, just some other familiar faces here. We have Melissa, all these cool updates. So here we have $1,700 a month within 4 months in the health niche. So this is the stuff that we used to be watching. These were the interviews that I would do. And it's like, it's a little insane. Like all this stuff flipped. And, one thing that I did, I saw basically these type of videos were doing the best. And I was like, I'll do more of them. Now, at the time, I think I was probably winding down some pieces of the business overall. But still, this was the bread and butter. It was pretty awesome. Okay, and we have John here. John, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. John says, seems like directories are becoming popular, even though dependent on Google. Indeed. Yep. I see that too. And it's a little bit interesting because like, it's just where things are shifting. It's like people move where there's like a demand for something, or if a business model like stops working and something else does, people will move over there. And an interesting thing is like, it's not like brand new stuff. Someone contacted me. Actually, I won't mention too many of the details, but basically someone was like, hey, I'm doing drop shipping now, and maybe I could come on the channel and talk about it. And I was like, do we have something new to add to it? Like, do you have a new success story? Or are you just getting started with it? Because basically, like Tim Ferriss talked about drop shipping in 2007. It doesn't mean it's not a valid business model. It's just, it's fairly mature. If we're not doing anything like brand new, and there's other channels or podcasts or whatever that are solely dedicated to like e-commerce, and then they're covering drop shipping. So it doesn't mean it's not valid. It's just like, I don't really care about it too much personally. And it is crazy, again, to go back through these and see the stories that people had. So we have Christy here, so student. We have Melissa again, Ariel, Jamie. Very cool. Speaking of directories, so we have Tony Meritato here. There's other folks just doing interesting things here. And there's so many videos that I've done. There's so many interviews that I've done with these folks. It's kind of crazy, and it's insane. Like the whole huge audience is like, it feels like they sort of dissipated. Although I was going to say, like, Alex Cooper I think he did a better job with community, number one, but his live streams were always well attended. So if I was lucky, I had my live stream right after his, and maybe some people would hop over and join me. I still like doing them. This is how I started on YouTube, doing live streams. So even though we have smaller crews, I still enjoy it for some reason. I have gone off and on. My schedule has been slightly busy here and there, / I'm out of town, that kind of thing. So sometimes, like if it's going to be more stressful than it's worth, then I'll take a little break. But the real deal here is like when AI started hitting, you can see I delayed for a long time, but eventually started doing some of that content. And it's insane to look at the number of views that I used to get on just sort of random videos. So here's one right here. So I published 86 posts, and that got 3,000 visitors in 6 weeks, 200,000 word update. So kind of interesting overall. 86 posts, 6 weeks, 3,400 views. And if you look at recent views for my channel, it's in the hundreds. Now that said, sometimes I would publish a video that was like my thing, interesting to me, but probably not to other people. So I would publish those, and I kept doing it. In some ways, it ran my channel into the ground, but I never burned out. I mean, I'm still doing these live streams, So a lot of people burn out because they're creating content that they think they need to create, or that they're somehow financially obligated to create via sponsors. And they're just, it becomes work at that point. So as we scroll down, we still see pretty awesome. So only 21, we see pretty awesome headlines. So $1,500 per month without a niche, right? So we're going to scroll down a little bit more. If y'all have any questions, let me know. Now, the thing is, around this time, I was starting to get into the financial independence content creation area, YouTube and podcast, right? So about, was it 2021 when I started the Mile High Fi show? It must have been around then. But when I look back, I'm like, so much has passed, But here I interviewed Diana Merriam, the Economy Conference founder, and super fun conversation. There's other folks in here. So this is Credit Card Churning over here with Trip of a Lifestyle, Stephen and Lauren. And then we have Rachel Richards here. So it blows my mind, all of the people that I talked to, but also the number of people that were like making great money online. A lot of times they were beginners. I tried to start a couple case studies here and there. Like I know I talked to Andra here, and we started a case study, and it got almost 5,000 views. And she actually decided, hey, I don't want to do a case study. I think some things changed in her life, and decided, hey, I'm not going to do the case study. We have Charlie on here. He was on a few times. And just a lot of familiar faces, people I'm still in touch with, but maybe they're not on the channel, that sort of thing. So as we're scrolling through here, like I said, random catch up. Here's this episode, random catch up, state of the podcast. And I just talk about the show, and you can see those kind of episodes, 287 views, but they're all still out here. And it blows my mind overall where the industry has gone, and then what people are shifting to. Now, I sent out an email this morning, which is why a handful of y'all are watching, and I appreciate that. Side note, I'll probably take next week off as well, but I should be back around. I'll try to get some guests lined up too. Those are always more fun than just a straight monologue. And the thing is, so as I'm on some email list and I see some of the stuff that comes up on my feed here on YouTube, I see like directory sites that John mentions in the chat. I'll come back full screen here for a sec. I see those other business models that people are talking about. And I'm sure some of them are valid, but as a uninterested third party, I'm more observing. I'm not going to try those business models. I look at some of those and I'm thinking, this does not pass my sniff test. This doesn't seem like it's a good idea. It might be a business model that I've seen before that is harder than what they're thinking it's going to be, or harder than whatever the creator is explaining. And the huge problem here, I mean, this is why the make money online niche is a tough one to be in, because there's so many scammers out there. It's like people want to believe that they're going to be able to, I'll pick drop shipping because I mentioned earlier. They're thinking, hey, I think I'm going to be able to do drop shipping because so-and-so said it should take this amount of time and it's this easy to do. And again, now that I'm a third party, an uninterested third party who I am not biased, I'm like, I don't think that's going to work, or it's going to work for like 1 out of 100 people that even try it. It is so much more difficult than whatever they're saying it's going to be. That's one issue. And I'm not going to call anyone out specifically. And then I also see people that try something, like maybe I won't use drop shipping as the example. I'll make something up, like picking up dog poop from people's backyards. All right, I'll just make one up. Pretend like it's online now. That could be a lucrative business, though. I mean, people that don't want to do that, just go to their houses, pick up the dog poop. Anyway, the point is, there are people that are selling their course or their workshop and they don't have a high enough skill level to like warrant the cost or even prove the business model. It's just like they've tried it once, they got it to work, they followed someone else's like general plan, and they got it to work because maybe they had some, skills already in the area and they're able to get into it. The big issue is like they just don't have the skill level to actually teach you anything. And honestly, again, third party, I'm not biased. I don't give a shit if you check out their stuff or if they're successful. I am not competitive with these people. I am completely outside of it. But I'm like, I don't think they have the skills to show other people how to do the thing they're talking about. And further, it comes off kind of desperate. They're like, they're using all the great marketing and sales strategies from scarcity. Hey, you could only enroll until the end of this week. They're giving away free resources. So, think about the book Influence by Cialdini, and they're doing all the things. They're price anchoring at a certain point. They're saying, hey, I did it, you can do it. All the things. And by the way, I literally did this. So I'm not above this. I did this years ago. However, I think I had like a fairly good track record. And I usually if you look at all the success story interviews, I was basically interviewing students and or people that worked in the same industry, and we had like a mutual respect, that sort of thing. So as we look through here, like I said, I did a lot of interviews with people that literally took my course. So again, I'm not above it. Those sales strategies do indeed work, but the point that I'm making is that it seems like the people are they're trying to get you to enroll. They just need a handful of people to enroll. And it's really disappointing to see that happen. Because people are like, oh, like I really think it could work. Like I trust this person, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, those folks, it's disappointing overall. But they were around when I started too. I remember there were some of the big YouTube channels. Again, I can't even remember their names, but it's just like, man, this seems scammy. It just seems so crazy. All right, Dave, what's up? Good to see you on here. Dave says, hi, Doug. After spending 3 months building a recipe site, only to hear that Mediavine is no longer accepting recipe sites that use AI. I'm sorry to hear that, Dave. Yeah, this is another one of those things where the companies are trying to keep up as much as they can, and AI is a new thing that's moving very fast, and marketers are very quick to figure out a way to abuse a tool that could be used for good. And I think in the long run, like it'll end up being, blogging might still work, right? I think there's going to be a little bit of a swing. The pendulum will go back in the other direction where like you'll be rewarded for long form content that is harder to create with original narrative, any kind of content. It actually doesn't have to be narrative, but like any kind of content. And basically like the fact that it's hard to create will be the benefit. That'll separate you from your competition. And it's harder to do. It takes longer. So someone, for example, maybe they're into home brewing beer like I am, or like Matt Giovanisi is. And they'll create content around that because they like it and they want to, and they're obsessed with it, and they were going to create it anyway. And it gives them a way to provide like just a platform where either they write about it or maybe they do videos on it and they vlog, but they were going to do it anyway. And they want to share their information, and it'll be valuable to the right people for that audience. And you can't fake that. You can do a lot of stuff with AI, but there's some stuff that you really can't fake. So I think those will still be effective. I know people still read, they still read blogs, they still read stuff. It'll be a different traffic acquisition channel, but people still want to consume content. Video is probably the right way to move. It's easy now, and the fact is, like, I don't even know. I think I might be able to switch it from here. Like right now, this is a newer thing. You could like switch over to like your phone as the camera, and it looks almost as good as the freaking DSLR. Hold on. I thought I had something that would make it a little bit better, but I thought I had a tripod handy. But basically, you can use an iPhone, and it'll link up pretty seamlessly. Let me see if this works. Yeah, so that's my iPhone down there, and some people actually like this view a little bit better. Do I really have that many freckles? Is that what I look like, guys, gals? So anyway, you could switch over, and it looks pretty damn good overall. It's not perfect, but it's better than like the shitty webcam or other stuff like that. And it works really well. This looks better. Clearly it looks better. The other one, it's a little too much. But for me, like if I am on the road, I'm not going to bring my DSLR. I'll just use my iPhone for remote recording like that. So anyway, I think video is the way to go. Great skills. All right, let's go back to the chat and say hello. All right. Couch, what's happening? You got the email reminder. If you want the email reminder, you can sign up in the description there. And credit card ideas. Yep. So I did get a new credit card recently. I have some friends that are super into like credit card churning or travel hacking. And I've accumulated points, but I haven't really done a great job optimizing how I'm doing it. So often I'm like redeeming the points in the worst way. So this is real. So I think like 90,000 points, which is a lot. There's a lot of points. It's worth about $900 if you just get to the straight up redemption. And that's not that great. You should be able to get usually at least like 50% more value from it. So instead of, we'll make it round numbers. So the math is easy for everyone, mostly myself. But let's say I had 100,000 points. So that's worth like $1,000 if I just got a credit card statement credit. But if I were to transfer those points to a hotel chain, like Hyatt, for example, transfer some points over, I should probably be able, most of the time, to get more value for that. So I would get, instead of $1,000 credit card statement credit, I would probably be able to get maybe 1.3 or 1.5 times whatever the value is in hotel stays. So we just went on vacation. We passed through Vegas and all that stuff. We stayed in St. George, Utah. And we stayed at a Hyatt. It was really nice. They had a great breakfast. It was very new, perfect location, right off the interstate, right where we needed to be. And it was, I can't remember, 4,000 points. Basically, was it 4,000? I can't remember the number of points exactly. But overall, it would have cost like $160 for us to stay there. But I only used, I think, like $135 worth of points. So we got like a decent value there. So that's the value. Like, it's still a used points. They have some, dollar value, but you're able to stay for cheaper. So highly recommend you check out like the last episode that I published. If you start simple, you definitely can earn some great points. And like flying, I have a couple, I flew around a little bit this year. I have a flight coming up later this year. My wife does too. We booked all of that on United points, which I got a United card a couple years ago, got a bunch of points, and we're still using them right now. All right, let's go back to the chat. Dave says, what's my opinion on faceless Instagram theme pages? I am not super familiar, so I don't have a strong opinion on it. My overall suggestion or observation about faceless anythings is you'll probably do better most of the time if you do have a face on there, or at least show your personality on there. So obviously I'm showing my face. My channel is called My Name. The podcast is My Name. So I'm a proponent of just going with that. Marcus is on. Thanks for hopping on here. Overall, with faceless stuff, it's not as defensible as if you like show your personality, have your face on there. Like if it's faceless, then someone else could recreate it a little bit simpler. But I'm sure there are good examples or reasons why you're asking about this, Dave. So basically, the easier anything is, like the more competition you'll have and probably like the less effective it'll be. The harder anything is, most of the time, it's going to be better from a moat around your business standpoint. All right, Couch says, great time of year for Joshua Tree. Indeed, yeah, it was really nice. A little chilly, but I'd rather that than heat. And someone was popping in from Kenya. John, what's going on? All right. Thanks for asking some questions here. Marcus says, any ideas for those who don't like to use video? Sure. I mean, honestly, any of this stuff will work. So like I was talking about drop shipping, it would work. If you wanted to start a podcast, it would work also. If you want to write, you can write somewhere too, right? Like any of the business models work. So this is what I've like consistently said, even the ones that I never said any of them specifically. I just made up examples, but basically any of the business models will work. If there's someone out there doing it, like then you can also do it. As far as like, the skills that we have from, creating websites and doing the kind of digital marketing that we have been doing, you probably have skills around content, the written word specifically, that lends itself pretty well most of the time to a newsletter. I think if you went to the right platform where there's, I guess like a gap in the creators where maybe there's not many people talking about, again, I'm going to make up a bad example, homebrewing beer on LinkedIn, there's a little bit of a void, but people on LinkedIn may also be interested in homebrewing beer. Bad example, maybe a great one, I don't know. And the fact is, like, if you want to write, you're like, I don't want to do video, and you want to write, like, you can do that. You can definitely do it. As far as, I think I mentioned Pete McPherson. He's, creating apps and doing stuff like that. He doesn't have a development background or a coding background, and he's making it work okay. I think there's opportunities for that, specifically like if you're able to identify one of your problems that you have and you're like, I want to improve this and solve this problem for myself, there's a good chance other people also have the problem. Maybe there's a solution out there already, but it's not exactly what you're looking for. I think, we look back at, again, a lot of the videos that I did. One of them that's up here is around a keyword research tool. So we had Keyword Chef, right? So I think Ben created that because he wanted a tool that did things that other tools didn't do at the time or didn't do in a way that he enjoyed. He did have a coding background, so he created a keyword research tool. So if you're able to solve the problem, you can create the SaaS product that you're looking for. And let's go back to the chat. Oh, we have Kristen in the audience. Oh, wow. She taught me everything I know, most of what I know about the credit card churning. Not really churning. We'll call it travel hacking. Okay. Let me go through here. So Marcus, you could do anything. If you don't like video, you could pick something else. And Couch says, Ricky has eye-catching content. Yeah, I do need to check out some of the stuff he's been up to. All right, disastrous stories. I guess some can still aspire. Never got big enough to fail yet. Don't know any better. Trying to learn GitHub, React, Copilot, and that with husband and developers help. Cool. All right, so what does Kristen say here? Calculate the cash price was for Hyatt and divide by the points you use. I bet you'd find it was over 2 cents per point. So 100,000 points could easily get you 2,000 in value or more. Perfect. Yes. And this is, I didn't know you were on, Kristen, because I'm embarrassed to say, I mean, you already knew that at times I would see I accumulated a bunch of points. I was like, oh, shoot, I should use these points. And then I was like, all right, I guess I'm just going to do the cash value thing. And instead of getting a crazy amount, a crazy amount of value for an upcoming trip or whatever, I just got you know what I did? I did the cash back on the statement. And then I think I bought a guitar. That's exactly what I did. So it worked out well, but now I'm into it. I see the value and I understand what to do. So I have the Sapphire Preferred. I believe that's the one, Preferred. That's not the best one. I keep getting them mixed up. Soon I'll have Elizabeth get some other card. I don't think she'll get the same one. I think we'll do something else. Maybe a hotel chain, but I think that'll be the best one. Potentially the Capital One, but no, I'm not sure. All right. Paul is on as well. Okay, Marcus says, I kind of like videos, but not showing myself all the time. I don't want to be in the picture, so to speak. Okay, that's totally doable as well, because there's several channels that I watch, and depending on the content, right, there's a lot of leeway. So I watch a decent number of travel vloggers, and some of them have a style it reminds me of like some of the old Travel Channel TV shows back when we had cable. I used to watch those all the time. They'll get B-roll, right? So on these vlogs, they'll get B-roll. Maybe they're in their car or a plane and they show a little bit of the travel. They're not necessarily on the video doing like a talking head thing like this. They're more doing voice over stuff. So they'll show B-roll from Savannah, Georgia, and they'll talk about the history of the river walk area and the different blocks and some of the other informational things that you might care about, which is so easy to obtain. Like you basically can go to like a Wikipedia page. I don't have like a travel book right next to me, but we went to Joshua Tree and Death Valley, and I picked up a book at the library for Joshua Tree, and like it has all the history in there, the different locations. So if you just get some B-roll of different stuff, fairly straightforward to record the voiceover, add your own spin. You're like, they say this stuff, here's the history. I went down there, we hiked some stuff, my impression is this, and you don't actually have to be on camera very much. The other side is like how-to content. So if you're actually like showing people how to do some landscaping in your yard, you don't necessarily have to be like on camera talking too much. You just can show the results. You can go to the nursery where they have all the plants and stuff and walk through there. And again, essentially do voiceover so you're not in there too much. Perfect example, Marcus. So you're in the software industry. You can probably create tutorials, feature updates without showing my face. 100% correct. There's a couple things that I've watched recently where I actually wanted to see the person. I thought about this, Marcus. I don't know why. It was software related, but I was like, I want to see them talking. Like I wish they at least had their face in the corner like I did this, but they were not on there at all. They were just like, it was just a screen share. And I was like, I want to see the person talking about it. I don't know why. And I can't remember which video that was either. But you're 100% right. I mean, if people are trying to learn, software stuff, they're trying to learn how to do X, Y, or Z. They're trying to solve a problem. They don't care about your face. Who cares? I think I was probably watching somebody play guitar or something. That's the other thing I watch. Let's see. Impala mentioned you could also just pop in at the beginning to welcome your audience, then pop at the end to say goodbye. And yep, that Paula is exactly what the video that I was watching, they said, hey, we're going to do this thing. And then they weren't on there anymore, and they were on at the end. So as we scroll down here, reminiscing about other videos and stuff, we look back and I would do vlog content here and there, talking about my YouTube setup. Here's one, working on a normal Tuesday, a vlog about nothing. It's like this whole live stream, huh? Just kidding. We're talking about stuff. All right. As we keep going here, it is remarkable. All the different stuff that we covered on the channel. And the sad part is a lot of these are just not relevant anymore. And one thing I thought about doing, I may have mentioned the idea, and if someone runs with this, you're more than welcome to. I'll be sad that I was too fucking lazy to do it. But it's kind of like the rise and fall of like niche sites, basically. So it's a very small audience, but I feel like there's some interesting stuff in there because, I mean, I think the people that I learned from probably got started in like 2007 or 8 or so. And they had this like sort of similar ups and downs that I saw from 2013 to 2020. And then really, I think it was like 2021 or so when AI really started making an impact, I think. I think from there, things changed in a different way because SEO changed a little bit. AI forced that. And SEO from a Google standpoint had to change because of the, I think, amount of content and the level of quality from the AI tools. So it's been fairly interesting. It's been interesting. So Marcus also says, I was thinking about having that or a very small webcam frame in the corner or using an AI avatar that looks very realistic. And I think like something small in the corner, I think like that's fine. Like people don't notice it very much. And obviously everything's very configurable. So you could I can make my little window super tiny here to where now it's too small. I can't move it. I can't even get my little finger on there. All right, here we are. Yeah, it's so small right here. So you can make it super small so people don't even know you're there. You can make it like giant like this. But yeah, you can make it a smaller one that fits whatever you want to do. So let's do one other thing. I mention this all the time. You know what? Let's do at least 2 other things. We have a few minutes here. All right. I'm going to go to, I think I could actually play these videos. I think I have this set up so you could hear the system audio as well. And we can go back to the olden days. So this is like a while back, but I want to get back to maybe like 2019. Sorry, I burped there. Excuse me, folks. I had a lightly carbonated drink earlier, and that was a big mistake. But I will own it. All right, let's just move on from that. I'm going to scroll down. And I'm going to find a really good classic one from back in the day. Blah, blah, blah. All right, we're still not in the 20, or we're in the 2020 time range. I want to go back to like 2019. Let me get back a little bit farther. And if I don't get to it soon, I'll I'll skip it. All right. We're very close now. We're almost there. Everyone be patient. Okay. What is, oh, is that a playlist? I know this is the worst way to do a live stream, so I appreciate everyone's patience. You're way more patient than me. Got some old familiar faces. Got Marty. Okay. Here, I'm walking with Georgie. Yeah, in the early days, I was like, I'm just going to do a vlog. Okay. I think we're in a good spot here. We'll just do this one. Okay. Got it. So this is Ellen. $60 to $600 in weeks with a keyword golden ratio. And I think this should actually play, but we'll double check. Everything's loading slow. All right, I'm going to pause. For some reason, it is loading slow, but I do need to turn on the system audio. Let me know if you're going to be able to hear this.
Completely prepared for the first 6 months for nothing to happen. I had watched a lot of your videos. I think the interview you did with like Dave Fox, and he was just like, Google hates you for the first like 9 months. Don't expect anything good to happen. And so I went into it like, I'm just going to do this. I'm not expecting great things. And so it was probably, I think I launched it in like July. And then around September, maybe late August, I actually heard about the KGR for the first time on one of your videos.
Okay.
And so it was so funny, actually. I was literally making dinner, chopping vegetables, and I had like my laptop up on the little kitchen sill listening to you, and really kind of tuning part of it out. And then you brought out like an Excel sheet. And that always like piques my interest when somebody does something that's like somehow data driven.
Right.
So I stopped like mid chop and I was like, what is this guy talking about? And you pulled up the all in title and you showed me. And so after that, like right after that, I finished dinner and I just went and started doing KGR research in my niche. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's tons of these. So I immediately kind of switched around that late August, early September mark and started just pouring the KGR content on. I was at that point doing only KGR. And that's all I do now.
Okay.
Is basically KGR optimized content. Unless there's something like, oh, you really should cover this in this niche, but there's 1,000 competitors. Who cares? Just stick it up there.
Sure.
So that was probably early September. And I spent the next 6 weeks really pouring on the KGR content. And traffic started to pick up. I started to probably get a couple hundred a day. But the thing of it is that I really hadn't gone through.
All right. It's pretty crazy. So there are so many videos in here. People in the chat are mentioning that. And let's go back. Hopefully I didn't lose my spot. So a couple people mentioned it would be cool to go back to some of these case studies. The other interesting thing, like people were just watching so much of this stuff that I would put together 5 interviews in a row and not that many people would watch it, but some people would just put it on while they were working on their sites, or they would put it on while they were doing other stuff around their house or whatever. So not many, but some people would actually like watch these super long interviews. Sometimes it was like a theme where it's like, here's people that are in their beginning stages. there are other people that I interviewed again and again. So it was like, here was the first interview from a year ago. Here's a recent one. And I would put together like 4 of their interviews, and you could just watch them as like their site grew or whatever. And if we look back, I have told people, hey, I left these old ones, these old videos. So this was 10 years ago. I always say I was like scared of the camera, which I was. The thing is, audio is horrible on these because it's not quite loud enough. And I didn't know, like, the cameras are better. The gear is better now and it's easier to use. But I didn't know, like, how to do audio right, or that I could bump it up easily. Like, I was just learning how to do this. So crazy thing is, like, there were still like a shitload of views on some of these. Like, there's some, I guess this is a good example. The using the Hoth Platinum got 2,000 views, right? So the Hoth is essentially a marketing company agency. So they would basically build you links. That's what they would do. And other really dumb stuff. So killing productivity with Dvorak vlog. So a couple of I was like, I'm going to bring my phone out. That's my old dog there, Brody. He passed away a few years ago. But anyway, I would go out on the morning walks and I'm like, I'm going to record this thing. And then I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to say. I was trying to do everything in one take because editing kind of sucks. I was like in a mastermind with Rob Atkinson here, and I was like, hey, maybe we could record some stuff together. So we did a bunch of videos, and it was easier for me to talk to people. And then we have link building for Amazon affiliate niche site. So 3,900 views 9 years ago. So this was like, let's see what this audio is like.
Hey, it's Doug Cunnington from Niche Site Project, and this is a case study update, and I want to talk about ranking the site and overall link building. So we have essentially a 6-step plan that I'm working with, and I just want to talk about them individually a little bit. So first off is the internal link building. So this is really something that you should be planning from the beginning. So
for a while I thought, hey, I'm going to do this whiteboard stuff. They would do like Whiteboard Friday and all that kind of stuff on Moz. And I was like, I have a whiteboard. I'm going to do that too. I'll go ahead and like this one. I didn't like it before, apparently. But 3,900 views. Pretty crazy. And a lot of this stuff is no good. Let me go back to the chat here. So yeah, Marcus says that aged quickly. Yeah, so much stuff is like irrelevant now. So, and Couch mentions, so what do we have here? It says, I joined in August of 2013. That's when I started YouTube. I have 130K subscribers, 2,100 videos, 5 million views. And I've mentioned it before, but just so everyone knows, I ran ads like last year for like a decent chunk of time. And part of it is I don't care about the vanity metrics. I was just curious. It's like, I don't care, but I do care. So I was just like, can I just run ads and hit 100K? And you can. It wasn't that much money, by the way. And a lot of those contributed to the views. I mean, I would say I probably still have like over 1 million views of like no ad supported, but I don't know how many it is. But the numbers are there, but I don't care that much because I know that it doesn't matter in the long run. It's just a number, but I did it just to see if I could do it. So, but thank you for the kind words. It is something. It's amazing, but it's not a big deal. Oh, and Marcus says without tattoos. Yep. I just had the one star here, and I had this one before as well up here, and you could kind of tell that it's not as dark. This is like 20 years old about. But it took me a little while. Okay. Philip, what's up? Philip says, what's next? How can we make money again online? Okay. This is a great question because I was basically, I started this and I was like, man, things are different than they used to be. And I see people that are like maybe promoting stuff that like isn't that great. And they make it sound like it's like a sure thing, which I don't think it is. So there's a couple things that I think they can work, but I think it's probably harder than what other people are saying that it is. So directory sites, someone commented here about them. I see that sort of business model gaining in popularity again. Here we talked to Tony 2-3 years ago about this already. The other is newsletters. So back to the written word. I mean, that is effective. Emails are great. People open emails. People care about emails. Additionally, I think the Etsy print on demand business model is good. I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be setting up my store soon. I've been out of town a little bit, been a little bit busy. I luckily have some of the content already done. So I just actually need to upload the files and set up the store. I also have what I believe is a pretty good idea for a niche, and it's something I'm interested in. So I'm part of the community. I'm part of the people that would buy those products. And I think it could work pretty well. And I think I have at least 2 to 3 ideas on that. One of them, when I talked to Emily, who I interviewed not too long ago about her print on demand Etsy shop. One of them in that interview is right here from 1 month ago. It's this one right here. So she made $500K in 2 years. And basically I was like, oh, I have shirts that have like movie quotes and or are themed that way. For example, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, this is the University of America Samoa, and it's the shirt that Saul Goodman was wearing in Better Call Saul. He got like a correspondence degree for his law degree. And if you didn't watch the show, it's not a big spoiler. Good show overall. Anyway, the point is like that is not a great idea because there could be some trademark things in there, even though like I bought this shirt or my wife bought this shirt for me. They use like the logo, they use the design basically from the TV show. And you could run into some copyright issues, maybe not very likely, but it's like if it starts selling a lot and you're doing well, the last thing you want is for your store or whatever platform you're working on to run into issues because of trademark or copyright issues. So not going to do that, but I have a couple others again where like I'm in the niche and I'm a person who would buy those things, and like I think it's a great idea and I'm probably going to do it. Within, I think it's a perpetual within 6 weeks, but basically coming up pretty soon in the next less than 2 weeks, my like activity level will be a little bit less and a little more chill. So I'll probably spend some time on that. And it's stuff that I would enjoy anyway. You know, some of it might be stickers. Like I'm a sticker person. Like here's one that I got from a national park a couple years ago. I keep going back from, oh yeah. So this is Black Canyon of the Gunnison. And then local brewery, Left Hand Brewing. So I like stickers anyway. So there's a good chance that I could do some stickers, and I've actually made a few around here and then like given them to friends, and they're like, oh, wow, where'd you get the sticker? And I was like, I made it, like this one of Georgie right here. That one. But I buy a decent number of stickers while traveling. So again, we're going through some of these old videos, and I wasn't super consistent. You'll see a handful from like the first couple years, and then I tried to do some other like reader Q&A. We showed Ellen on there, and she mentioned Dave Fox. So like Dave's interview here, I talk about keyword golden ratio. One of my friends, this was back in Montana, he did Amazon FBA 8 years ago, if you could believe it. And the thing is, like, when people are like, oh, you can sell on Amazon and blah, 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 you can do that now. Like it's a mature industry, and the competitors are much, much more established, and they have deeper pockets. And it's just like, oh, like almost any of the business models could work, especially if you have, instead of thinking of like a 1 year timeline, if you're thinking like, hey, this is like a 5 to 8 year timeline, then you can make better decisions instead of being in a rush. So back to the original question from Philip, almost any of this stuff can work. People are like, oh, I'm going to build a software tool that helps, people do X or Y. That can work. Everything's going to be pretty tough, but like you could do online courses. You could see, I've tried all sorts of different types of videos and thumbnails, and here I'm doing like behind the scenes where I'm actually like outlining some of the work that I'm doing. So this is stuff that people are interested in, right? I watch a bunch of guitar YouTubers, and they have courses, right? Some of them try to teach people to play guitar, but I believe the most effective ones, there are people that have their YouTube channels, and they're like, here's my course on how to be a musician that creates YouTube videos. So it's not like teaching people how to play guitar. It's not like anything directly related to the craft. It's like teaching other people how to do stuff. So online courses are great. You could do live workshops if you want to. Like almost anything will work. Not niche sites though. Don't do that. But a lot of stuff is viable. Okay. I got to wrap it up here. I got to go to the gym. Let me double check a couple things. I am not going to leave yet. I'm going to finish answering the questions. And if you have questions, please enter them in now, because we'll do sort of a rapid fire format here. Perfect. Okay. So Paula asked a very smart question. How about updating thumbnails if it's still evergreen content? Okay, that would totally be viable. There is potentially an issue with how evergreen some of the topics are. A lot of the videos were like, they did not age well, I don't think. So a lot of them I think could be totally irrelevant. However, like my sort of idea of like the rise and fall of niche sites, one thing that would be interesting, I don't think I'm the right person to go through it, but if I went through and I found like the 30-second blurb of someone saying like, I started my site, now I'm making $5,000 a month. I started it 2 months ago. Just having those 15 of those in a row, like that's the kind of like quick content I think that would actually do pretty well. And for people that didn't get started until the last couple of years, when everything sort of changed, and it's like, hey, it's going to take you 2 years to like really get a lot of traffic. It was different in the old days. It was very different. So it would be like, is this even real? But it was just it was a different time, you know? And, oh yeah, and Couch is like this shirt. Yep. So it's a fun shirt. Almost nobody knows what it is. People are like, did you go to school there? Or like, is that a real school? It's funny that y'all are fan call Saul better, more. Okay. So Marcus says, do you know a good tool for tracking affiliate commissions from several affiliate programs, like a dashboard that combines one-time and recurring commissions? Okay. There's two that I have never used. But there are people that I interviewed on the channel. So if you look up, I gotta remember their names. Number one of them, she was a travel blogger. It was called Phila something. Hold on, I'll find somebody. I'll find the right person in here. She popped up earlier, so it was definitely more recent. And then there's a guy named Larry Ludwig. He has a product, and I think it does exactly what you're looking for. So episode 299, Doug Show 299, write this down. So that one should be good. And then the other one, her last name is Lint. Monica Lint. So 360, check hers out as well. Affiliate. Yeah, Affiliate. I need to check in with her. It's obviously been 2 years since I talked to her last. But she had a travel blog and then like developed the tool and all that kind of stuff. So I would check those two out. Never used either one of them. Those are good people though, overall. So I would check to see if they did what you needed. Richest Domain says, I noticed that, hold on. At my domain marketplace, they now offer an option to create marketplace items like t-shirts, blah, 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 of what buyers could sell if they bought your domain. Mostly pretty dull, but sometimes it pops. Interesting. Brooks is on. Hey, Brooks, what's going on? I'm about to leave, but it's good. It's good to see you on here. The thing is, like, live streams do better if you just stay on a long fucking time. Because, like, I think people pop in, they're like, oh, it's still on. Or if they go watch YouTube, like my friend Kristen, she was checking in on something else and she saw that I was live. So she was like, oh, I'll just click on that. And then we were talking about points. And Kristen is the one who told me about points. And I got the new credit card, the Sapphire card, from her referral link. So spreading the love, you know. Okay. Domains can have a logo, lifetime use pick, possibly a marketplace, and blah, 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 blah. Yep. Oh, and Marcus says you probably watched the interview with Monica before. Yep, she was on a couple times. She was great. She could tell a good story. All right. Are you up for suggestions of possible future interviews? Maybe send an email about one. Yeah, sure. You can send it over. Actually, occasionally people do. I take it from audience members like you guys, but as you've unfortunately heard me complain in the past, I get probably 15 emails a fucking day from people trying to get on the podcasts. And I mark them as spam and I block them forever. I fucking hate those. It's cool. It's cool that they're trying, but it's like, yeah, no good. Okay. Oh, Marcus, great point. So I heard vertical live streams perform better as they show up in people's feeds. And you know what? I meant to keep testing that because as I was going through my YouTube Shorts feed one time, basically there would just be someone standing there, not saying anything. They're just looking at their feed. And I'm like, how the fuck did this guy show up on my feed? They're not even doing anything. This is like I'm not subscribed to him, nothing. So I was like, I heard that if you just do it vertical, that it will show up. And I saw someone I follow, they were like, I'm doing these sometimes. And instead of like 300 views for her live stream, she got like 18,000 or something like that. And I was like, I need to do that. I need to try it out, see how it works. And it's actually super, like I might even be able to do it live here. Hopefully this might work, but no, I cannot do it while I'm recording. But basically I just have to like flip a switch and then it just does vertical and it's totally fine. You can't see me wave my arms around it or anything like that. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. Marcus. So you're saying someone you know only gets 0 to 10 horizontally, but hundreds when he does it vertically. And I think, it could be the niche also, but I was like, I think it's like so many things that we do it's a numbers game. So it's just like the person that I saw when she got the 18,000 or whatever, she did a few, maybe a dozen of them. And it was like 30% of them had more views. So it's like, it's not a slam dunk. And it was something that I was going to experiment with. So, all right. I think that's it for today. I got to head to the gym. Thanks for popping in. Remember, you could sign up for the email list so that you can be notified when I do live streams. Also, don't forget, I won't be around next week. Not next Tuesday, not on the 25th. The next one after that, I'll be around. Should be around after that. I do some work on Tuesdays. This is part of that. Okay. Y'all have a good one. See you next time.